Good morning everybody, how are ya? It's Rob back again with another video, and today we are talking time lapses. Let's go! Oh yes. So first things first, what do you need to take a decent time lapse? Well, obviously you need a camera like this. You need a sturdy tripod like this. You need something like this oh, hang on. No, we don't need you, do we? You need an intervalometer like this. And if you haven't got a time-lapse function on your camera, then you need one of these. Get the cheap ones. You don't really need to spend too much money on these. They do exactly the same as the expensive ones, but this one has some kind of Chinese writing on it. But if you buy the one with the Canon written on it, you'll probably pay 4 times more money. 4 times more money. Yeah. So then you need to decide what you're going to take a time lapse of. Now there's so many things to take a time lapse of. You can do it of people walking in a shopping centre. You know what I'm talking about. Clouds moving, that kind of thing. So you need to get your location sorted, and then you need to decide what interval you're going to use to take the photo. So you're going to set your camera to take one photo every 2 or 3 seconds or whatever, depending on the subject. And then you're going to bring all your photos into Lightroom. If you've got Lightroom, I suggest you use that because it is awesome. And using Lightroom with LR time-lapse will just take your time-lapses to the next level. So how do we do it? I will show you now. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is fire up Lightroom and then fire up LR Timelapse. If you haven't got LR Timelapse, download it now. You can use a trial version if you like. So you're going to come into LR Timelapse, click on your folder, and LR Timelapse will initialize straight away, analyzing the photos. And the first thing you're going to do is just follow it's kind of like a flow chart at the top. So you want to come along here to the visual workflow tab. Make sure you're clicked on that, and then you're just going to follow it across. So the first thing you're going to come and do is click on the keyframes wizard, and the keyframes wizard is just going to allow you to adjust some photos in a little while. But basically it's going to look at the metadata from your raw files, and I suggest you take raw photos. If you haven't, then make sure you do that next time. And it's going to talk fluently, if that's the right word, with Lightroom. And the software will communicate with each other and allow you to adjust the photos, which will then apply the developments to all the photos in a seamless time-lapse. Well, that's the object anyway. So we've clicked on Keyframes Wizard. This allows you to put more keyframes or less. I suggest around 4, and you will see what that does in a minute. Then click on the next one along, Holy Grail Wizard. Holy Grail is just given to the fact that it used to be so hard to get a seamless time-lapse from day to night, night to day. And we're just going to adjust this a little bit just to get these lines fairly close to each other. And we're just going to click here on Save, and LR Timelapse will do its little thing. And then don't miss this step out. Even if you've opened Lightroom, Don't miss this step out, okay? So we're going to drag this little box into Lightroom. This is why it's better to have Lightroom open. So we're going to click and hold and then drag it all the way into Lightroom. And then just let go of the mouse. Make sure the library is clicked. And we're just going to let go, and that will open up in Lightroom. On the left it says Brill time lapse. All the photos are checked. Make sure it's on add at the top, and we're just going to click on import. Now this is going to bring the photos into Lightroom via LR time lapse. So it's going to open up all the photos fairly quickly. And now it's just a case of telling Lightroom what photos and develop settings you want to change to adjust your photos, which will then be read by LR timelapse using the metadata, okay? Sounds complicated, but it's not, okay? So basically, we've got all the photos in here. So Command A to select them all, metadata, read metadata from files, read. And that is going to allow the files to use the keyframes that we just selected in LR timelapse. It sounds really complicated, and I'm making a faff of these instructions, but really, once you've done it a few times, it is pretty straightforward. So it's reading the XMP files. Okay, so now you're going to go down onto the, in Lightroom still, we're going to go down to the filters in the bottom right hand side. We're going to make sure the filters are on, and we're going to click on the little box and make sure that LRT5 keyframes are selected. Now the keyframes are what we used, what we selected earlier in LR timelapse, and this gives us the option to edit the photo. So we're going to click on one photo, click in the develop module, make sure this photo is only clicked, and then we're going to apply some settings, but don't go too mad. We're going to give it a white point, black point, bring down the highlights. You get the message, you get the idea. Bring exposure down just a little bit and bring up the shadows. Okay, so we've edited one very quickly. Okay, we can add more stuff to that, but because of time, I'm just going to go through it very, very quickly. Now, we have to select all the photos. Shift click. And then we're going to go up to here to the script icon on a Mac. And we're going to click on 01 LR timelapse sync keyframes. This is going to sync the developments to the other photos. And then we're going to click on the second photo, and we're going to edit this. So another white point, black point, maybe highlights down a fraction more, open up the shadows a bit more. And we're going to click on the last photo again, go up to the scripts, sync the keyframes, and then we're going to go into the last one, make a small edit on this one. Open up the shadows a bit more. Maybe bring a bit of magenta to the sky. Okay, so now we've made 3 edits on 3 photos, but that is due to the keyframes that we've used. So we have one photo at the beginning of the time lapse, one in the middle, and one on the very end. And Lightroom is going to tell LR timelapse to sync all the photos together and adjust all the developments. Why can't I speak? All the developments, and LR timelapse will analyze them and give a nice transition to each one, so you haven't got the steps from adjusting your camera settings. So I'm sounding very bad, and I'm making it sound much more complicated than it is. So we've edited the 3 photos. We're going to bring off the filters. Make sure you're in library. Press G for grid if you haven't. Select all. And we're going to go metadata. Save metadata to files. So now that's going to look at all the files and put all the settings that we've just done and add them to all the photos. So Lightroom now is saving all the metadata. So once that's saved in Lightroom, we're going to go back into LR timelapse, and we're just going to reload. So now we've finished on the top row, we're going to come down to the next row, and if you're not sure, just hover over these small instructions and these prompts and it will tell you what to do. So if you do get stuck, just hover over them and they will tell you, okay? So we're going to reload now. So LRTimelapse now is going to look at the photos and the adjustments we've made in Lightroom. And then we're going to click on Auto Transition. Self-explanatory, it's going to look at the edits we've just applied and it's going to make transitions in between the edits. Now these lines on this preview window here are telling the program what has changed. If I click on all up here, it's going to give you all the lines and all the graphs that LRTimelapse is going to try and adjust. So now we're going to click on Visual Previews. So we're still following this bottom row, Visual Previews, and now LRTimelapse is going to build up a visual preview of what we are trying to achieve. So now it's made the edit, the first frame, and then it's going to apply the seamless transition in between the edits we made earlier in Lightroom to all the other photos. And it's just calculating now. So let it do its thing. Okay, so once it's done that, all we're going to do, we can scrub through this preview, and as you can see, it's made the transitions. And we can even hit the play button on the left and it will give you a play of the actual time lapse. But it's not perfect yet. See a star trail, a plane, yeah. So now we're going to apply the visual deflicker. So click on visual deflicker and we're going to smooth it out. So this line here is going to apply the deflicker to this. So we're just going to bring that up a little bit. Click on apply. And that is then going to apply a deflicker to all the photos. Just let it do its thing. So now LRTimelapse is just a tool to get the metadata from Lightroom to then make a seamless transition. So we have to go back into Lightroom. Once this is done, we have to go back into Lightroom to carry on processing and exporting the actual time lapse, because the photos aren't in LRTimelapse, they are in Lightroom. Sounds complicated, I know, but it's not. It's very easy once you've done it a few times, okay? Okay, so once that is done, we are going to carry on. So after this box here that we've just clicked on, it says to render the video. So we're going to go back into Lightroom. Make sure you're clicked on the left hand side, you're clicked on the folder, not the catalogue at the beginning. So if your files are sort of 2 or 3 folders deep, make sure you're on the last folder containing the photos, okay? So click on that, make sure you're on that, that's the first thing. And then select all, Control or Command A, metadata, and we're going to read metadata from files. Click on read. Now that is going to apply all the settings made by LRTimelapse to the photos that are living in Lightroom. As you can see, it's applying all the changes now. See the photos. Oh yeah. Goodness is coming through. So that is done. Perfect. And then we're just going to click on export. And this is coming through from LRTimelapse, so we're going to click on at the top here, 4K, give it a name, export. And this does take a few minutes, so I'm going to pause the video. So once all that is finished and Lightroom has processed all the photos, you will get this dialog box. Jesus, I can't speak. You'll get this dialog box and you can tell LRTimelapse where you want it to be cropped, and give it a name. The output file is here at the top. The frame rate is here. There are other options, but we're just going to go with render video. So I didn't know where the progress bar was when I first done that, but it's here on the left at the bottom. and you'll get a nice bell, a nice ring-a-ding-ling to say that it is complete. And now that is finished. So the progress bar is complete. We're going to come out of here, and wherever you saved it to, it will be here now. Now this time lapse didn't work out as good as I wanted to for this actual project, but I'm going to show you another one I did using this exact same process, and I'm going to show you and talk you through a very dumbed down version of all the instructions in a second. Let's just show you this time lapse. And this is the kind of results you can get. Adding some music and adding some motion. And I was very happy with that result of this one. So let's go back and just go through a roundup of the process. So the first thing you want to do is go into Lightroom and open it up. But don't bring in your photos at this point. Open up LRTimelapse. Navigate to the folder where your photos are living on your hard drive. Click on that folder and let LRTimelapse analyze the photos. And then go through the top boxes, click on keyframes, Holy Grail Wizard, save it, drag the box into Lightroom. Once you've dragged that into Lightroom, make sure that all your photos are selected. Go to metadata and read the metadata from the files. Once you've done that, go down to the bottom right hand corner, click the filters to on, and make sure you've got LRT5 keyframe selected. Edit the keyframes, make sure that you copy and paste the developments you've made using the develop module in Lightroom, and apply it to each photo using this script at the top. Don't use the sync method in Lightroom. You can't use it. So, copy whatever you do to the first one to all three with the script. Then go to the second one, make your adjustments, select the third one, go to the scripts, sync the keyframes, then adjust the last photo, and then bring up all the photos by turning off the filters. Make sure you're in the library and the grid view. Press G if you're not. Select all and save the metadata by clicking on metadata, save metadata to files. Once that's done, you can go back into LRTimelapse and reload. Your photos will all come up. Click on auto transition, click on visual previews, let LRTimelapse do its thing. Click on visual deflicker, let LRTimelapse do its thing. Render the video by going back into Lightroom and read the metadata back from LRTimelapse. So go down to read metadata from files, and then go down. Once that's all done, go to export. The dialog box will come up. Bish bash bosh, that is it. Sit back and enjoy your silky smooth time lapse. And that is how you do it. Whew, that was a longer vid than I planned, but I've done it now. That is it. I hope you learned something. I want to show you how I add motion on my time lapses, maybe for a future video. If that's what you want, please leave a comment for any resolved questions and all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully I'll be able to do more time lapses with the weather and on this awesome camera. Any comments, hit me up. Thanks for watching. Please hit that like button, hit the sub button, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.